I'm going to show you how we can animate our character's face, where we have eyes blinking and the mouth opening and closing. Eyes we can just have blinking every now and then to make it look a little bit more realistic. The mouth you're going to animate later on when we then try and sync it up with your audio. You can do your animations to see how well it works with the mouth opening and closing, but until you have your audio, you can't really sync it up with anything. But I'll show you how it works anyway. So what I've done is everything's on separate layers where I've got the eyes in a pair, and so I'm going to make them blink together, which is pretty standard. If you did want them to blink separately, like if you're animating a chameleon or something where their eyes are separate, they just need to be on separate layers. So I've got my eyes, mouth, nose, and then head, torso, everything else is on separate layers. I've then taken that into After Effects, where I've got my layers all ready to go. And what I'm going to do is on the eyes layer, let's start by making him blink. So if I press S for scale, I can play with the scale, but that's not really going to work. I mean, it might work if you want to make him look really surprised, where his eyes are popping out of his head. You can animate that. But for the most part, we just want to make him blink vertically. So to make it so that you're only changing the vertical or the horizontal, but you're changing them separately, if we click this chain link, we're going to unlink those two properties. And so now we can make him squint, or if you go all the way, he's going to blink. And you can also bring the eyes together if for some reason you wanted to do that. So now we're going to make him blink by playing with those properties over time. So we press the stopwatch. There's our start. It starts at normal. Let's go to frame 6. You can do whatever duration you want. And I'm just going to make another keyframe. So it's starting there, starting normal, finishing normal. In the middle, roughly frame 3, is where it's going to, with another keyframe, or if we just change the properties down to 0, it's going to blink. And so over a very short period of time, 6 frames, which is a quarter of a second, he's going to blink. And that's all you need to do. And you can just keep doing that again and again as often as you want your character to blink. Now for your mouth, once you have your audio, as it's just another layer, we can really start to go with making the mouth open and close. Now the problem with the mouth, if I press S for scale, is when you scale and change dimensions, they all change relative to this point. Now, if I was to scale that down, I'll unlink it and just change the height. It looks kind of funny. It looks like it's dropping down to his lower jaw because it's not quite in the center of his mouth. So like I showed you in the previous tutorial, if we use the anchor point tool or the pan tool, we can actually move that center point. So you'll use this tool to move the center point of your limbs. So instead of having the center have that point on the center, you have it on, say, your shoulder or your joint of where you want it to rotate around. What we're doing is we're having it squish or reduce in height proportional to that point. So now when we change the scale, it moves around that center point, which is what we're after. So likewise, let me just undo that. Likewise, let's go along, start at frame 20, and let's do a keyframe. And I don't know what words he's saying because I don't have the audio, but likewise, we can just have start and stop. There's your normal. I'll press the diamond over here to add another keyframe. And in the middle, let me just shift that out by 1. In the middle, we'll shrink it down as if he's speaking. And so he's blinking, and then you might have that just go over and over again, small, back up to big, back up to small, back down to small, and you might have his mouth just opening and closing. Very simply, movement of the mouth to show that animation. And let's finish with, he might be yelling. So let's do another keyframe where it's back up to 100. And then after that, he's going to be a big yell. And then because that's the last keyframe, it's going to continue on. So he's blinking, it's yelling, and then might put like a 7 for raw effect on top of that. So to animate the eyes, you can do that at any point in time. to animate the mouth, you can do it at any point in time, but you need to have, for it to sync up with audio, you need to have that audio already recorded and on your timeline, and then you're just listening with headphones to make sure it lines up